Have you ever heard of a man named Louis Pasteur? Well, even though you may not have heard of him before, you've probably benefited from his invention. If you ever drank milk from a grocery store, or used ketchup on a hot dog, or eaten an extra cheesy pizza, you've benefited from pasteurization, which is a process of heating food to kill harmful bacteria. Louis Pasteur first demonstrated this process in 1862 when he heated wine to about 60 degrees Celsius and killed the bacteria responsible for causing the wine to spoil. He then applied this process to milk and other foods and found to his delight that it also prevented these foods from prematurely spoiling. His method of food preservation became the industry standard and would be given his namesake, pasteurization, which was a huge honor. He was also awarded the highest honor the French government could give, the Legion of Honor. The invention of pasteurization is recognized as one of the greatest contributions to science and has saved many, many human lives since its invention. But one of the side effects of his theory was that it destroyed a key pillar of evolution, spontaneous generation. Spontaneous generation was the idea that living things could appear spontaneously or all of a sudden from non-living objects like dust, rotting meat, or even mud. I know it's crazy to consider, but without the invention of the microscope, people didn't know how these microscopic organisms were created. They assumed they just came out of nowhere. To test his theory, Pasteur created an experiment, which is still regarded as a gold standard experiment today, that disproves spontaneous generation, or abiogenesis. He took some broth and then boiled or pasteurized it to kill any microbes that were present. The broth wasn't allowed to be exposed to air, but was in special glassware that prevented microbes in the air from reaching the broth. This broth was then allowed to sit, and nothing grew in the broth. This was the death blow to the spontaneous generation theory, to which Louis Pasteur then concluded, quote, microscopic beings must come into the world from parents similar to themselves, end of quote. Just like what it says in Genesis, that all living things came after their own kinds. Pasteur's findings are now the cornerstone of the modern biological idea called biogenesis, that life only arises from life. Even though evolutionists and atheists support his work and use his breakthrough, pasteurization, in their everyday lives, they still claim there is one exception to biogenesis. That's when life first began on Earth. It must have came from non-life. This has never been proven, despite scientists spending decades and wasting a lot of money trying. All this time and money could have been saved if they just read the Bible. This scientific truth once again affirms exactly what the Bible says. And this is why Louis Pasteur even stated, quote, little science takes you away from God, but more of it takes you to Him, end of quote.